and recording now.
Hi. So welcome to the April 13th Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We have one item on our agenda tonight, and that is to consider and have a public hearing. But first, let's open the meeting. Would somebody like to move that we open the meeting?
I'll move.
Tricks. Pete, you want a second?
Sure.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. So we'll go on to our public hearing. Do you want to go ahead and let the group in? And then I'll move to the public hearing.
Would you like both the applicant as well as the public wishing to comment?
Sure.
Or just the public?
I-
Yeah. Okay, we'll admit both.
Okay. If we were in a room, they would all be there together. So
So
let me see. Sure. Wait for their audio. And Eric Stickle, is he a neighbor? Do we know? Okay. Okay. So we have started our meeting for the April 13th Zoning Board of Appeals. We have one item on the agenda tonight, and that is a public hearing. Just for procedure, I'll open the public hearing, and then we'll ask the Sessons, hopefully I'm saying your name right, to address the board. And then we'll ask if there's any public comment while we have the public hearing open. Okay. So our public hearing number one tonight is consideration of an appeal made by Stacy Sasson, applicant, on behalf of Aaron Daniel Sasson, owner, 7 Whispering Pines Drive, tax parcel 41.-2-16, located in the residential low density R1 zoning district for an area variance from Town of Lansing Code Section 270, Schedule 2. Area, frontage, yard, height, and coverage requirements, which require a 25-foot minimum yard setback from the rear lot line. The applicant is seeking an 8-foot area variance from the minimum setback to facilitate construction of a new 40 by 20-foot in-ground swimming pool. This is a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. The above referenced appeal and supporting documents are available for inspection on the website. Would somebody like to move opening the public hearing?
I'll move.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
Okay, Rick. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Heather, anytime I have to do roll call, just let me know, okay? Okay, so Dan and Stacy, if you want to just outline for us, what you're requesting, why you're requesting it, and help us out with the picture. And
sure. If it's okay, I'll share my screen and just show you some pictures that might be helpful.
Okay.
Okay, well, now it's giving me a hard time about that. So we're using, sorry, it's giving me a little bit of a hard time. Okay, so, all right, great, it's not letting me share. In any case, the dimensions of the pool and the back, I guess the southern end of the lot, which you might have the survey in front of you. We're also limited on the western side by the placement of our septic tank. So, and there is a deck on the southern edge of the house as well. So for us to not have the pool basically just flush up against the deck, which would more or less happen with a 25-foot setback, we're asking for the variance so we can have it more centered within the back of our property. and which also allows us to see people in the pool from the deck, which would be nice for us to be able to watch our kids from while they're in it, given that it's going to be an in-ground pool. What I was trying to show you was what the property line looks like. It's not letting me share. And we're basically back up against woods. You may see from the survey that there are 3 adjacent lots that kind of meet up against the southern end. One is a large area that's, I think, owned by Cardamom for potential future development, but that hasn't ever happened. The other 2 kind of meet at an angle and actually have houses on them that are well farther south, far from our property line. And so unless they were going to build a second house on the lot, we would be hundreds of feet away from the house, to the extent that, that's the issue with the setback requirements. We don't really have any distance issues with our eastern neighbor. So it's really just about the southern extent.
Mm-hmm. And it's mostly wooded, from what
It's
I
completely
saw.
wooded.
Completely wooded.
Yeah.
During the summer and spring, you can't even see if there's houses back
Yeah.
there.
I mean, if I quit and rejoin, I can show you the pictures, but I'm not
You
sure.
can just hold up your laptop.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Yeah, I mean, it's that, we're looking at. So.
And you could make the setback, you're saying, if you went all the way up to the deck.
Yeah.
yeah, it would have to be up to the deck.
Yeah, we basically flush with the deck, which has other problems if we do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have stairs there right now. Eventually, we'd like to put stairs. It would just cause.
Yeah.
And we also have a sub pump drainage under the deck, so it'd be a little tricky.
Yeah, we'd have to reroute
The sub pump.
some pump PVC piping that drains that drains our sump pump. That's just not a huge deal, but just another complication as well.
Not to mention, probably your footer drains are pretty close to that too, I would imagine.
The footer, you mean from the down pipes from the gutters? Is that what that is?
Yeah, around your home, like the.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
You're doing an in-ground pool.
probably. I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know exactly where they are, but I'm guessing they're closer to the wall rather than the deck. So I mean, the deck is a few feet away obviously from the wall. But yeah, we weren't planning on being that close to the house or the deck until this came up. So.
Okay. Do any of the other board members have questions?
Are you gonna have a fence around it as well? I mean,
We already do have a fence actually. So that's in place and that meets the code for the pool, which we looked at. We had a temporary pool, one of these inflatable ones.
Above ground.
Above ground last year, and the code requirements, even for the temporary pool, was the 4 foot minimum for the fence. So we put that up and that's there. They'll have to take down part of it for the construction and then we'll put it back up. But that's already in place.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like you have the pool kind of centered in that area. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, the east-west centering is limited because of on the
Septic.
western side. There's a little rise, and then that our septic tank and the drainage field is on that side, and I believe that's marked in the survey. So we can't really go much that way, but our east-west. So I mean, our east-west is limited, but that's not really the issue here because we're not even close to the 25-foot setbacks for adjacent properties on the east-west dimension. It's really the southern edge. That's the issue.
And the lots, on that edge are triangular lots. So it's really an awkward shape. Like, I don't even know how they would be utilized by the people.
Yeah, like I said,
living
and on those 2 lots, there are already houses, but they're on the far southern edge of those adjacent lots. So they're not anywhere near us. Yeah, we can't really even see them through the woods.
okay. Pete, Mary, Rick, any questions?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. All right. So it looks like we have maybe a member of the public that might want to speak. So let's see if It just says Eric Stickle. Oh, there's Maureen. Okay, here's another one of our board members. We'll let Maureen come on. See if she has any questions. Hi, Maureen. Maureen, we're in the middle of the public hearing, and we have the Sassons here. They're just telling us about their plans. Did you have any questions from your read of the application at this point?
I think she's joining on two different platforms, perhaps.
Maureen, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm having all kinds of problems connecting. Can you hear me?
You're kind of in and out a little bit. Did you have any questions for the applicant?
There we go. Can you hear me? Whoops.
Yep. So let's bounce to Eric Stickle. Eric, do you have any questions or a comment that you'd like to make?
How are you, Judy? Pleasure meeting the Sassons. It's the first time we've met over Zoom, so pleasure. I didn't really
We
prepare
can't
anything.
see you, by the way. I don't know.
No, I'm gonna keep
Okay.
that off if you don't mind. Yeah. So I wasn't really prepared to speak, just kind of listening.
Okay.
To be quite honest, I guess the only question I have right now, and we can see how this this conversation kind of goes from there, is what's the intent, or was the intent from the 25-foot rule in the first place?
CJ, do you want to take a planning point of view on the setback requirements?
That's a good question. I don't know at what point this was designated the zoning district that it's in, but it's a fairly common and very typical residential rear yard setback.
Sure.
You find it in a similar type of zone in many municipalities. So I can't speak to the specifics of this particular parcel or development off the top of my head, but if you give me a few minutes, I certainly can dig into it.
Yeah, I guess I was just, kind of looking at, is it to, so we've kind of alluded to, the Assassins alluded to the visual portion of it, is that for both visual and possibly the, the noise level? I mean, why did the board settle on, 25 as opposed to 50 or 20? I'm just trying to get a background context behind it really at this point.
From my background, quite often when you have a residential subdevelopment like this, you want to leave enough light and air between the structures so that no neighbor is compromised if somebody builds too close to the lot line. So the exact number, 25, 30, whatever it is, I don't know where that specific one came from, but that's the intent of those sorts of rules.
Great. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Maureen, go ahead.
I came in late, so obviously I don't know exactly what you've been talking about, but I'm assuming this is the building of the swimming pool?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing? Can you hear me? No?
Yes,
You can't.
yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, we're putting in an in-ground pool very soon.
Hopefully.
You're on mute.
So relative to the question about the R1 zoning district, so the intent of the R1 district.
Can-
Just going in and out.
Yeah, I was like, am I interrupting, Maureen? Okay, the intent is to designate areas where agriculture has been an historic use of land, but which areas are now primarily residential. Such areas often face environmental limitations and potential water supply and sewage disposal problems that restrict the extent of development. Regulations and standards in this district are intended to limit density and, based on soil conditions and land accessibility, reduce the number of suitables that are uses that are considered suitable. So that's the intent of this zoning district in the town.
Great. Thanks, CJ.
Yeah, sure.
So Judy, is this something that needs to get voted on tonight, or how does this all work?
Yes, so right now, Eric, we're in the public hearing aspect, so we're open to public comments during this time period. I just want to make sure Maureen's questions are getting answered. So once we close the public hearing, what will happen at that point is it comes back to the zoning board members for discussion. And if we have any further questions of the applicants, we can ask questions, but the rest of the time, the discussion is with the zoning board members. And then once we're ready to move toward making a decision, we go through a resolution of our findings. So I just want to make sure Maureen doesn't plans for development behind the property.
Right. So, as I said, yeah. So there's 3 lots that come up, and
You're answering Maureen's question.
right. Yeah. So there are, as far as we know, there are no plans. In fact, I'm not sure they even can because of issues with the soil in that area. But again, that's anecdotal. I don't know that for sure. There's 2 of those lots are already developed. They already have houses on them, but the lots are these odd kind of
Triangular.
polygons. So their houses are actually on the hillcrest, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Entrance, and they're basically up against the hillcrest, and then just this large backyards basically that extend to where we are. So unless they were going to build a second house or relocate their house, which wouldn't make sense because they'd be far from any road
They go
access.
like this.
Yeah. So for those 2 lots, no. Then there's a large square lot that's more southeast that's owned by Cardamom, which I guess is for potential future development, but I know of no plans. And again,
It's very
there's no
swamp. It's very
there's no
swamp.
Part of it.
and there's no road access either, right?
Well, it's very swampy back there too.
Yeah.
So like, there's been some debate as far as if he'll ever be able to.
Develop there, but as far as I know, there are no plans, but I don't know that for sure, obviously.
So I could speak to that. So Maureen, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, CJ.
You were asking about the plans. So if I may, with the board, just share my screen real quick, and we can just zoom to that tax parcel. This area to the south, and that's why I wasn't sure about Eric's question exactly, because this is the boundary right here where I'm running the mouse. This is the boundary of the Woodland Park planned development area. And so all of these parcels are platted already. So they're not built, but that's been approved as a planned development area. So it has, so for instance, there's this road, but it doesn't actually, if we go there in imagery, it doesn't actually exist in, real life, right? They're just platted lots. So that it covers basically the entirety of this area. And you can see, when we turn off the ortho, that you can see all the individual platted lots. These are the townhouse area, and then these will all eventually, when Cardamom, I suppose, eventually decides to build this out, then yes, those would be developed, is my understanding. So, yeah.
But only one of those butts our property.
That's correct. You're at 5. You're at 7.
Yeah. Only one
Yeah.
corner, like it's a.
Can you go back to that map, CJ?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. So the parcel in question, so the Sasson property here is number 7. And so you can see this is the parcel here.
Yeah, it's pretty woody.
Yeah. And then these are the lots. See, you can almost barely make out the street that's been platted here. But whether this will ever be built, obviously, this significant question. They're still on phase 2 of the townhome, so hard to say. It may be someday, but maybe not anytime in the near future. So, question mark.
Maureen?
One more question.
Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but there also was a section back in there that I believe was some federal wetlands in that corner somewhere. Do you know anything about that, CJ?
Yep. So the parcel I think in question, or that you're asking about is, let me just, we'll just go back to our handy tax map. Is this parcel here? I think this is dedicated, this 7-acre parcel here, is wetlands, and there's some wetlands in here also, as part of this. And this is, I think, stormwater. This parcel, I think, is completely stormwater, or at least part of this is. There's a lot of permanent stormwater practices in the planned development area. And so, yeah, to answer your question, this is the federally designated wetland, or at least part of it.
And which one is 7? Oops, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I keep taking it away. Okay, 7 is here. So
Okay,
this
so
is
it's
this is 7.
Okay.
This is their particular property here, but
Any
So,
other?
one more question.
Okay.
I know that it's pretty wet back there. I used to live back there. So does any of that wetland area have to be displaced in order to put a pool in there? And where does that water go?
I mean, I don't think we're close to the wetland area at all.
Our backyard's not wet.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
that's not even, but I mean, as far as the wetland, I don't see how we're 4 or 5 lots away from that. I don't see how we'd affect that.
And in the survey map, there's a pond close to where you're putting
No,
the,
well,
I don't know when.
there might have been a pond at one point. I think the closest we get is to a muddy patch when it rains, but there's no real pond there. Yeah.
A nice rock structure above
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
okay. Maureen, any other questions?
Henry?
No, since I lost some of this, I saw the dimensions of the pool, and yet the pool, I guess, has to have a enclosure, right? For safety reasons? Is that part of things?
Oh,
with the
there's a
town
fence
council?
already
We have a
around. Yeah,
fence.
there's already a fence. Yeah.
So how far is
And
the fence?
is where
The
Around the
fence,
Yeah, currently from the property line as we speak
of the
today.
the southern,
property?
yeah, he had a question, right? Yeah, so the fence, the southern edge of the fence basically parallels the property line. It's at the southwestern corner. It essentially starts at the pin, more or less, maybe a foot away. It's not exactly parallel to the property line. So at the southeastern corner, it's maybe like 4 or 5 feet from the property line, but it's more or less paralleling the southern property line. The eastern edge of the fence basically extends to the corner of the house. And the western edge of the fence goes close to the western property line, which again is distant from what we're talking about, where the pool will be. And then it makes a 90-degree turn and then comes back to the house. But I think the relevant part of the fence is more or less, it's between 1 and 4 feet from the southern property line.
Okay.
So the fence doesn't have to be 25 feet from the property line. We're just talking the pool itself, right? Is that my understanding? Okay.
I don't know. I mean, CJ could tell us that.
Well, it's good practice to not put fences directly on property lines, for what I hope are obvious reasons. But no, the structure itself is what we're talking about, i.e. the pool.
Sure.
The fence is already in and been approved.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so we own one of the, as probably you guys figured out, owned one of the southern properties, and in my personality, I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever. I really don't care. You know what? They're having fun. Their family's having fun. I'm good with it. And really, I I think I am. I'm just trying to think of the far side of things. I don't know if I'm going to be in the house forever, so I'm thinking, how does it affect potential property values? We're thinking on, I've heard a mention of, it really wouldn't be an issue unless we decide to build another house back there. But, what if we decide to build a pool where the old owners, or a shed or a playhouse, how that would, potentially affect that, So no, I don't think the plan is to build a house back there, but, us or the next owners may want to build something. So how would that affect that? Is really kind of where I'm trying to, and again, I'm just trying to learn that this is the first for me. So I appreciate you guys working through this and work through it together, but those are some questions that I think I would, if not answered now, at least just kind of talked about in this group. If that makes sense at all.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. We appreciate hearing from neighbors. So unless the board members have any other questions, we'll bring the public hearing to a close. Anybody have any other questions? Okay, would somebody like to move the closing of the public hearing? Rick, is there somebody who'd like to second it?
Second.
Mary? Okay. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
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 Okay. So at this point, like I said earlier, the discussion comes back to the board members. So unless we have a question, the discussion is really with the board members. So anybody would like to start that discussion?
Do we stay present or do we leave?
Yeah, yep. You can I just mute. So
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I'll go first. I don't see too much of a detriment at this point with having 14 feet instead of 25, if I'm reading this correctly, from the rear yard side. So.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't think 8 feet is really gonna make much difference to, like if the neighbors want to do anything on their properties. I don't think it's gonna be a detriment for resale on either homes, especially with it being so wooded. I mean, I've been in many of those houses up there. It is hard to see out through the backyard. So I agree with you, Judy.
Okay. Any other comments? Anybody want to?
Is it 8 feet, 8 foot variance that we're asking? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're projecting to be 14 foot from the rear setback.
Well, that would be 17 feet, actually. 17 and 8 is 25, so.
Right.
But they've got it marked on the map 14 feet,
Oh,
which it's a little confusing.
maybe I'm just not turning the map the right direction, Rick. It looks like maybe it is 17.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it should be 17, but.
It is. If you just turn the map this way, it looks 17, but if you turn it the other way, it looks 14.
But we have to be clear on
That's
the
my bad.
specifications if we approve it.
Right. So it is 8 feet. So.
8. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it says put in-ground pool 17 feet from the back of property line. So is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks.
I was just turning it the wrong way, Mary.
Exactly.
Rick, Pete, you guys have any questions? Any comments?
I mean, I don't think it's gonna, where it's setting, I don't think it's gonna hurt anybody's visually or no noise wise. We only get 2 months a year for a pool. Being a pool owner, I know that. So anyway, I don't see a problem. I don't see a real issue with it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. especially with the strange confluence of lots that are coming in around where the pool's going to be, it would be a real odd case to build anything that close, I think.
Right.
The other landowners anyway.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I was concerned about the environmental piece of it and the potential developments, but it sounds like those are not problems.
Okay. All right. Board members, are you ready to consider our resolution and findings?
I am.
I am.
All right. So at this point, we will consider our resolution and findings. I'm going to jump to our resolve, if that's okay, CJ. Okay. So be it resolved, the Town of Lansing Zoning Board of Appeals hereby makes the following findings with respect to the specific criteria for an area variance as set forth in Town Law Section 267-B3B and other applicable provisions of law and of the zoning ordinance. So A, our first question is whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting of the area variance. I would suggest no.
No.
Agree.
No,
And the findings is that it's a wooded area and there's pretty normal thing for this neighborhood to have this kind of pool.
it's compatible. It's compatible. Yeah.
Compatible. Thank you. There you go. Question B, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance.
No. You got their septic on the other side.
Okay. Limitations of where the deck is, where the septic system is, so, and they've centered it. So. C, whether the requested area variance is substantial. I wouldn't call 8 foot substantial at this point. Would anybody else?
No.
No.
So it's about a quarter of the amount.
Right.
Quarter, a third. A third. A little more than a third.
Are you okay with that, Maureen?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And then B, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
No.
It didn't sound like that, so
No.
that would be no. And then E, our favorite question, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. And I think, PJ, we've discovered we've been doing that question wrong now. I'm not really sure.
Well, it's really subjective. There's a couple subjective standards, and this is certainly one of them. Yeah.
Right. So, so I guess we're back to yes, this was alleged difficulty was self-created because they want to put a pool in.
They have limitations, but they want to put a pool in
Right.
of that size.
Um,
So it's self-created.
Right. So that's 4 no's and 1 yes. So the determination based on the above factors, it is hereby determined by the Town of Lansing Zoning Board of Appeals that the following area variance is granted.
Yes. Following meeting 8 feet, the stipulation in there. 8 feet variance.
So following area variance is granted with any conditions hereafter stated, if any, it being further found and determined that the benefit of the applicant outweighs any potential negative impacts or detriments to the neighborhood or community. And 2, such area variance are the minimum necessary as adequate to grant relief and at the same time preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood and the safety and welfare of the community. Description of specific variance granted is an 8-foot area variance for the rear lot setback. And there, we have our normal condition imposed with respect to the area variance. And that goes into the aspect of 1 year. So you have 1 year to be able to have this area variance. If you don't build within that time period, then it will go away. On the vote of the foregoing decision, determinations and resolutions of the Town of Lansing Zoning Board of Appeals was as follows. Would somebody like to move this resolution?
I so move.
Mary, is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, and for this, I will call roll call. Richard Hayes,
Aye.
Pete Larson,
Aye.
Mary Stowe,
Aye.
Maureen Cowan,
Aye.
Judy Drake. Aye. Okay, your variance is granted. Thank you for answering our questions and coming on tonight. And thank you, Eric, for your comments, and hopefully you were able to learn a little bit about our process. So thank you for that.
I appreciate it. I just asked the pool owners if we can enjoy it. That should have been my clause from the beginning. Only if we get to enjoy it. But they got to promise to bring some sunshine sooner than later, because you can't be in the pool in the rain. I'll tell you. No, I hope you and your family enjoys it.
Thank you. Okay, so that takes care of our one agenda item. So you're welcome to leave as we kind of carry through the rest of our agenda.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Rick.
Well, I seem to be having trouble getting into the Zoom meetings. Last month I was like 10 minutes late, and today I got it. I went in like 15 minutes early, and then it timed me out or something, and then I went back in. I still had to wait, so I don't know if it's just me or, you know, I mean, how long was everybody waiting for me? Because I started like at 6:15, you know, waiting to get into the meeting.
Well, I had trouble getting in too, Rick.
I got right in.
No, I don't know what it was, whether it's my system or what, but I had all kinds of trouble, and I started about 20 after 6. So I don't know.
I don't know. I do it for a couple other things too, and I never have a problem or whatever. But for some reason, I can't seem to. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my computer doesn't want to get in or something. I don't know. But
Could you tell me what you're seeing? Could you tell me what you're seeing when you try to log in? Does it say just wait, the host will let you in?
Well, it made me do something else today. I had to go in and update, do something or whatever that was different. And so I had to wait for that for a minute, and then it just sat there spinning. You know, it said waiting for host or whatever, and it spun, and then it said post attendee, and then it was gone. I was like, okay, so then I'd start over again. So I don't know. It's odd.
I don't know.
Well, I just want you to know, when I say I'm going to be at the meeting, I'll be there as soon as I can. Do we seem to be going to do these meetings for a long period of time or whatever, or are we ever going to meet again?
Well, we still have until the end of April right now is the executive order.
I think so.
So I don't know where Lansing is at, CJ, on getting prepared for coming back face to face.
So this is the first conversation I've had with any board relative to that. So I'm not sure. There's been some past discussion, you know, like last May, where people were, you know, kind of hopeful about that, and that was quickly squashed, of course. But no one's really said anything about it. I'm wondering if people, you know, I can't tell. But of course, I defer to the chair, you know, if it's safe to meet. I think most of the town staff are on their way to their second shot this week. So, you know, we're, I think, ready to go. But I, of course, defer, you know, to all of you and what you feel comfortable with. And that's obviously our highest priority.
Right. So that's, you know, really up to the board members. Is the town prepared to do any kind of hybrid where there could be?
Yes and no. It's somewhat harder to, have some people in person and then some people online. Not to say that we couldn't do it, of course. I anticipate that folks will probably want to, on an ad hoc basis, go travel or, whatever in the future. I can kind of see that happening and people wanting to still, on occasion or regularly or whatever you guys decide do virtual. So I know that they've installed some nice TVs in the town hall to be able to have people videoing in. It's just, I just happen to not see you guys in a while, but the town board has been meeting partially in person since, the whole thing started. So the very long answer is yes.
Okay. Are we
do.
expecting right now, based on like stuff that you have, whether there'll be a meeting in May?
It's always hard to say. We might in the next week, a couple things could pop up. Like this just kind of popped up. A TBD, but it is, building permit season, so it's entirely possible. But certainly we'll let you know. So let me just take a look and see what the deadline is coming up for next month. So hold on just a moment for me.
So while you're doing that, what do people think, once the executive order goes away? Are people interested in meeting in person or want to continue by Zoom? What's the preference of this board right now? So
I like the flexibility of being able to do it from Zoom because, like CJ said, the travel, I do a lot of traveling. What I used to. Although I did just come back from vacation, but I'm fully vaccinated. And I know that like the Ithaca Board of Realtors, we're going to be doing, when we can meet in person, we'll be doing a hybrid kind of model too. We just did a bunch of tech work in one of our classrooms. So I don't know.
mm-hmm.
I like meeting in person. I'm not a Zoomer.
Pete?
I'm okay with meeting in person. I've been double vaccinated.
Okay.
But I think the hybrid is a convenience for people that are away. So that's all true.
Pete, you could be on a tractor and still meet.
Yeah,
Pete, what's your feeling?
I'm flexible. I mean, the drive is terrible, but I guess I can make it there.
Zoom has been very convenient. I can eat right up to 6:25.
Yeah.
As long as you can get
I
in.
guess I can't wear my shorts to meetings anymore.
All right, but definitely, I think CJ, the possibility of having some kind of hybrid is going to be important, probably long term for everybody. So.
We're kind of betting as much. It seems like that's, at first there was kind of a lot of concern about having the meetings, and now people seem to have caught on. And in some ways, there's actually kind of more public engagement in a strange way, at least relative to some topics. I think it's easy for people to just, watch the video, especially the YouTube videos definitely have way more views than we ever had folks in the audience for sure. So at least for some kinds of meetings. So that's a cool thing, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely positive. Get people involved. It's great.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to kind of expand that communication strategy a little further. But in any event, the deadline for applications is this coming Friday at noon. And so, I usually give people a little bit of wiggle room if need be, if something, serious came in on Monday and, Lynn brought it to my attention, certainly we'd put it in front of you. But we'll let you know, let's say by close of business on Tuesday, whether there'll be a May 11th meeting. So you can plan ahead. We try to let you know if it's going to be canceled. So
Okay.
At least far enough in advance.
I appreciate that. Do we want to do the December meeting notes? Do you want to get them approved tonight and then deal with February next time?
Is that how far behind we're behind that far?
Yeah.
February. So March we didn't meet. Okay, so December and February, huh? Okay.
Right. February's I couldn't open, so I'm not prepared to put them out. Would somebody like to move the
I don't-
December?
I don't think I've seen either. I would have to review them, I think.
Did anybody get a chance to read them or no?
All that one was interviewing candidates.
That one,
One of them I couldn't open either. I was just looking to see which one it was.
I have to apologize for that December meeting. My grandmother had passed away that day and just flaked on the meeting. I'm really sorry about that.
I think we can forgive you.
Yeah, I think I remembered later that evening, and I emailed CJ. I was like, I'm really not that person who doesn't come to meetings. I just, yeah.
It doesn't show up, yeah.
Totally okay.
Well, that's too bad. Sorry.
It's okay. So do we want to wait or do we want to go ahead?
I don't recall the minutes though, so is there a way we can see them on the screen or no?
Can you, CJ, can you pop
Oh,
them
yeah,
up?
sure. Yep, sure. Hold on just a moment and let me just go to that real quick.
It was basically more going into executive session and coming out of executive session is what the minutes detail.
Okay.
And this was the December we're looking at?
December 8th.
Okay.
Where we interviewed,
It was a discussion of the interviewees, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
that was all in executive session.
right. So you
Interviewed.
don't approve that, right? You have to approve that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not it's not a, we don't report on the executive session, just that it happened.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the minutes.
Let me
Hold on a second.
want me to see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
I have them up.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Go right ahead.
Oh, here it is.
This one.
Yeah, Judy, I wasn't able to open the February ones either.
So do you guys see the minutes?
Yep.
Okay. I got two screens going, so I never know what can be seen and what can't be. I'm like, where are you? So this was from December 8th, sorry. And we had the motion to go into executive session, motion to come out of executive session. And then we made our motion to recommend to the town board for Mary Stowe to be appointed as a voting ZBA member and Jack Young to be appointed as an alternate ZBA member and Richard Hayes to be reappointed as voting ZBA member. And then we motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Heather, you must have loved doing these minutes. It was
Wonderful after doing a planning board.
okay. I'll stop sharing. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the December 8th, 20. I think that should be 2020, right? Okay, 2020 minutes. Is there somebody who'd like
I'll
to
second.
that? Okay, Rick.
Go ahead.
Any comments, discussion? Okay. If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed, abstention. Okay. All right. Well, we have one done.
thank you, Judy.
We'll get
That
caught
was
up
painless.
in February, hopefully at our next meeting. So, CJ, I saw that just a little rumor mill. I saw that Lynn's position is whatever advertised. Do you want to give us any news there?
Sure, yeah. So the town is, so Lynn, of course, is retiring after 20 years of service to the town. And so we have posted for a new full-time code enforcement officer. And the posting is up now through the 23rd, through April 23rd on the civil service website. So spread the word if you know anybody who's interested. I think we have 6 candidates as of, I think, yesterday morning. So they're starting to trickle in. And we've also, with the blessing of the town board, which is really lovely, we posted also for either a part-time or full-time planner. So we'll have more of, I would say me, but that's kind of strange, but you know what I mean. More planning capacity in the town, which is really exciting. So yes, so
Congratulations.
Awesome.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. And we're really, really excited, because we have a lot on our work plates, and as you probably have run into, are somewhat understaffed. So, we're really excited about bringing some new folks on board. So
Great.
we're looking forward to it.
Great. Well, congratulations on that. It was a hard time getting a planner and keeping a planner. So now we're really excited. So.
We've got our momentum, so.
Wonderful.
All right. So I think that's it. Any call for adjournment unless somebody has something else? Okay. So we'll move for adjournment. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Great. Okay. Thank you. We'll see you in May.
Have a good night.
Come to the
Thanks.
lunch.